Topic in this session is interviewing victims and witnesses.
The most important thing to start off your case is interviewing your victim, of course, first, and then following up by interviewing witnesses. Hopefully your victim will be first. Sometimes they may be in a hospital or on the table. You got to do a witness first. But I would suggest that you begin by a general idea of what happened. Get it in your mind what happened first, and then work towards specifics. Is, I think, the best way to do it.
Yeah. Do you go into the interview with some information already then?
Well, hopefully you will.
Right.
Hopefully you will. Hopefully you will have been to a crime scene or at least know what the call was when it came in to dispatch you to crime scene. Hopefully you'll know a little bit.
Because sometimes you may have to do it right on the spot, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You may.
But general as much as you can.
Get the general first, Steve, and then go to specifics.
Okay.
Specifics.
What's the key technique then in doing that?
Well, I like to. One thing you have to watch about: don't let your victim or your witnesses get too specific. Sometimes they'll try to help a little bit too much, and they'll get more specific than they're capable of. And you've got to remember, once you put it in that police report, it's an official document, and you're stuck with it. And let's say you're talking to an armed robbery victim who's just had a gun stuck in their face. It looked like the biggest gun in the history of guns, scared to death. And they tell you the guy was 6'4" and weighed 280, and he shows up and he looks like me. He's 5'10", weighs 170. Somebody got a long day on the witness stand.
How do you guide that process?
You have to use good investigative techniques. Get them, especially if they're talking about size, height, colors, that kind of thing. Try to get them to compare it to a known thing. When we're doing bank robbery training sessions, we don't teach people to rob banks. We're talking about, tellers and stuff. I ask them to look and see if the guy's standing in front of you handing you a note saying, "I'm gonna rob you," look and see where the counter in the bank hits him on his body, because we know how tall that counter is, huh?
Okay.
Or if he's standing next to Steve Bowers in line, I'll say, where did Steve come up? Where did they, was his head at Steve's shoulder, or was he taller than Steve? Huh? Then we can get a good idea. Refer it to something that is known to you.
Is there a difference in the technique with victims and witnesses?
No, not really. Not with what we're talking about now. What we're getting descriptions. And compare whatever a victim or witness, either one tells you, compare it to what you know, especially as you get into an investigation. You want to get information from them that corroborates evidence you already have or factors that you know are true.
Any kind of danger in leading somebody?
There is. You do not lead people. I've seen that happen, and that's a recipe for disaster, okay? In the first place, it's not good technique to get your stuff thrown out of court if you lead them too much. The other thing is, what you think is the right answer may be the wrong answer. And you get them to tell you what you think you know, and it turns out it's wrong, and it leads you way off in the wrong direction.
So you've got to stay somewhat detached in this.
You do. What you want to get information from them. I've seen people in interviews more times than I can count that try to impress people with how much they know. That's not it. I want to find out what you know, okay? I want you to talk to me. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in some other sessions. But I don't want to give you a lot of information at all.
In getting details, and you say it's important to get details, and yet at the same time not too much, right? So you guide that process?
Well, I'm going to guide it by the questions I ask.
Right.
If they tell me, that he's 6'4" and weighs 285, that's pretty exact. I'm going to ask them, how do you get that exact? If they tell me it's a 98 Impala Chevrolet, I'm going to say, could it be a 97 or a 99? I say, nope, it's a 98. I'm going to say, well, okay, how do you know that? And if they say, because I owned one for 10 years and the tail lights look like this, I'm going to say, I'm good with that. But if they say, well, I'm just pretty sure, I say, well, let's don't box yourself in that much.
So you're following the thread that they set out.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. You got to don't lead them at all. If you get to leading people, you're messing yourself up. I guarantee you.
So what do you want to accomplish then in that first interview?
What you want to accomplish is getting the most accurate information that you can get from the person you're talking to. And like I said, we're going to talk more about that in a minute, about active listening and being open and this kind of thing. But you want to get the most accurate information that you can get at that particular time. Just sort of as a wrap up, just kind of to summarize what we've been talking about, don't give more information than you get in an interview. You're not trying to make them understand how smart you are. You want to get what they know. You already know what you know. Get what they know, okay? Keep certain things to yourself. We worked a terrible homicide one time, and 5 people at a mental hospital killed another patient. And when they covered up the body, they used a cherry tree, one limb from a cherry tree. And every one of those 5 patients remembered that cherry tree limb. It gave a lot of credibility to our confessions. And you want to keep certain things to yourself where you can say, they had to either do it, or they were there, or they wouldn't know that piece of information. Keep it to yourself, okay? Don't let victims or witnesses be more help than they can be. Don't let them be more descriptive than they're able to be. Some people will try to help you so much that they'll go overboard and they'll tell you things they're not sure about. Try your best not to let that happen. Question. Once again, as we said earlier, once they give you that police statement, that's an official record and you're stuck with it. You're going to court with it and you're going to live with it. So make sure, do the best you can to make sure that it's accurate. It's good, accurate. When you're getting descriptions of people or whatever, go do it in a systematic fashion. Go from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet, okay, and get them described. Because what can happen if you don't do that? You'll get a real funny looking tattoo or a belt buckle nobody's ever seen before, and you get sidetracked, and you forget to ask about their shoes or what they got to carry. Start at the top of the head and go all the way down to the feet. Okay? And those are some good tips. Like they'll serve you well. What do you think, Steve?
I think they will.